Folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and today we are going to work on a hook bookmark. This is the smaller size that I use. It is, let's see, how long is this one? It is not quite 5 inches, about 4 7/8. So, hook. We're going to use a raven's skull. And we're going to use beads from the Jesse James bead mix. Oops, I just dropped one. Wednesday, it's decided to come undone. So we have beads falling everywhere. So what we're going to do is we're going to take, well, let's turn down and I'll show you. Here we go. I've got my stick, as I've already showed you. Some black onyx soft flex medium beading wire. 1 jump ring. Now you can do without the jump ring. It does have a hole. You could just soft flex straight to that. I usually use a jump ring though. I've got a couple of crimp tubes. My raven skull. Isn't he cool? Now this is one of my raven skulls from Belladonna beads, but this is the remainder from what the 3-pack I got last year. So this is the last one of the 3-pack from last year. He's going to go here. Now this is a bead strand from Jesse James Beads called Wednesday. This particular strand decided it wanted to unravel off of its wire. The crimp was way at the very end and I think it just pulled off. So we're going to use beads from out of here. This is cool, but it's too big. I like these silver beads too, but the one I'm going to use, these are big hole beads, so I don't want to use those. I'm going to use this big rondelle as my focal though, with a bead cap on either side. Put these all over here. I'm going to use this closest to my, this is a pave bead, which is really a really cool one. Can you see how? Let's see if I can get it to focus onto it. See, it's very interesting pave bead. So this is going to be right here at the bottom, and then one at the top, and then we're going to use one of these teardroppy things here on either side, and then one of these will go here between the rondelle and the oval bead on both sides. Oh, it doesn't want to stay. So it's going to look like this. This is extra. We're going to need to put that in a little baggie after a bit. Actually, do I have one right now? If I do, we'll just put it in right now. There we go. Now I tend to keep the cards, or at least cut off part of it, so that I know what I've got in here, in case I decide I need some more, and I need to order some more. But right now we'll just put these in here. Now when these unraveled, I dropped one of the beads. I believe it's probably this little, where is it? Where's its buddy at? I don't even see the other one now. Strange. Oh well, it's under the bead cap here. It's a flat rondelle. If it will come out. There it is. See? This is the one I dropped earlier. I have to see if I can find that later. But let's get some soft flex cut and start putting our bookmark together. So I am going to just unthread some of this, string it up the line to see about how long I think it should be. I like about 1 inch of extra on either side to make sure that I have enough stringing material to turn it in easily back into its crimp. I don't like to have to fight with it to go in, and you do fight with it if you don't have enough wire. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these crimp tubes And I'm going to crimp my little raven skull onto the end here. You see, there's that inch of wire I talked about, and I'm going to pull it up some. We want him to have a little movement, but we don't want to have a big gap of wire there. So give it a little bit more than that. And I'm going to get my magical crimpers out. They have a divot in them. See the divot? You want to put your crimp tube right in the middle of said divot and squish. And then you turn it, put it back in the middle and squish again. And do that a few times, rolling it around. And when it doesn't want to squish anymore, you usually have this little ball. Looks like a little ball spacer almost. So now that we've got that on, let's string our beads. So we'll start with this beautiful pave, and I'm sure that the hole is big enough to go over this extra wire here. Yes, see? And then we'll just go up the line of beads like I have it set out here. Oh, you didn't go on into it. There we go. Looks like this pave bead has grabbed something. It's got a fuzzy on it. See if I can get that off. There we go. Now, as I said, we're just going to go straight up the line of beads here, just like so. Now this rondelle here is almost bigger than I want it to be, but it's all right. It works. Because see, it is pretty good sized, but it is still not overpowering anything. Which is what I always fear when I'm doing these things, to overpower something. Now, you can see how long it has gotten, and this is going to hang like this, and I'd like my my bead strand to either be just below my ear wire, my bead bookmark, or just above it like this. So this is perfect since it's just below, and I really like it like that. So, and as you can see, I cut much more wire than I really needed. But that is the way it goes some days. Now I'm going to put my jumpring on here, but before it slides down over the top of my, I didn't notice that below. This is going into our pave bead. There it is. So I am going to need to get a small spacer. See, it's in here too. My bead fell into there. And we're going to find a small silver spacer to put at the bottom to block it from falling into there. So let's see what I can find. I usually have some close by me here. Ah, here we go. These will work. Put a couple of these out. Not 3, just 2. Okay, and we will. I'm fairly positive that these will not go over my little ball. Nope, see, it sits right across it. And when those go in the ball like that, you can't get the regular one to go in properly. So you got to be careful of that. And if it happens, do just what I did. Just go out and get a small spacer to put on the bottom. You can use any kind of spacer you have that will not go over your crimp tube bead. So I have quite a few different small ball spacers. Could have used a ball spacer if you didn't mind a double little ball there, if you have a slightly bigger one, and that would have been cool. And do you notice that you have to be careful with this bead because it's got hollows, and I actually was coming out over here at first. This has actually got a tiny trap in it. If you had a tiny, tiny bead, you could put in there if you wanted to. Like, I don't think 3mm actually might even be too big to go in there, but I'm not sure. But I don't have a little black 3mm, so I'm not going to worry about it. Probably a little seed bead would fit in there fine if you wanted to do that. So here's that other spacer to keep my crimp tube from falling down into my bead. So now we'll do this over again. But this time, of course, we're going to go through the crimp and through a couple of the beads. And we'll push this down here. Grab hold of your jump ring. The jump ring works as a pivotal point, if you can get hold of it decently. And you can grab it with a pair of pliers if you want. See how when I pull that pulled it down, but didn't leave as much gap right here? That's what I mean when I say it's a pivotal point. It just lets it slide right down. Now I'm going to push these down a little so I got myself a teeny gap here, because your crimp needs to go in the center. So if you don't have a small gap, it's going to try to go to one or the other side. If that happens, I get what I call an ugly crimp, because it makes a little squished spot in one spot instead of crimping off decently. Now that I have that crimped, we will cut this extra wire off. Now, a lot of times you're going to get a little gap of wire right here. Now, if you don't like that, you can always get a crimp cover and put it on. It doesn't really bother me because it's going to happen every time it happens. So I don't worry about it too much. If it's, like I say, if it's something you do worry about, get a crimp cover and put there, and it'll take up that extra space. So there's what our strand looks like. Now we have to hook it on and we'll be done. So just get yourself 2 pair of pliers. Oh, what did I do with my jump ring? It looks like, oh, it's on already, duh. So we take our jump ring and open it up. Now when you put this on, you want to make sure that your raven skull is going to the outside rather than to the inside. So we'll slide this up onto our bookmark. I only use the size of jump ring I have to use. I don't go any bigger unless I need to. This doesn't want to go on for some reason. It usually goes on with no problem. I may need to open it up a little wider. There we go. I think it's going. There it did. Now drop your jump ring down, your bookmark down to your mat so that this is not swinging here, and then close your jump ring up. That looks good. And there's our bookmark, all finished. Now you're flipping when I put you down, but so it looks like so. And it is longer than I would have liked it to be, because I would have liked it to end about here. So I probably should have taken a few of the beads out, but I like it. I think it's good. There you go. All done. Now, as you can see, that extra little bit of spacer did make it a little longer, as well as our jumpring and our loops from when we were making it up. So that's one thing you got to think about. Like I say, he's a little longer than I normally would have made him. I probably should have put that little flat rondelle in here instead of this, and he would have been much further up, like so. But I like him. So there we go. There is our Raven Skull bookmark. Isn't he cool? And just black and silver. I made him black and silver because, well, a raven is black and he's silver already, so I thought that made for a nice color combination for him. And as you can see, if you bend your bookmark so it would go in your book, his little skull is right there. So there we go. Isn't that cute? I hope you liked making this with me. This has been Rose from In Rose's Garden, and we have been making a bookmark from the Jesse James Beads Bead Strand Wednesday, and from our Raven Skull that we got from Belladonna Beads. In case you're wondering about the bookmark blank, I believe I got this one from Art Beads. However, I also get them sometimes from Beadaholic if Art Beads doesn't have them. So there we go. Dragon Skull from Belladonna Beads, bookmark from artbeads.com, and the bead strand is from Jesse James Beads Wednesday. And of course, we used Soft Flex Medium Black Onyx beading wire and their crimp tubes as well. So this has been Rose again from Rose's Garden, and we will see you later. Bye-bye.